Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel ForexPnL. Today is Saturday the 24th of June 2023 and it's time for me to do my weekend Forex forecast for the upcoming week. As usual, we're going to be taking a look at some instruments, okay, some currency pairs that are giving me some nice structural levels to keep an eye on. Alright, take a look at the majors and then probably some cross pairs as well. Alright, as usual, before we get things started on the charts, let's take a look at the economical calendar to see what we have from a fundamental perspective, okay. So as you can see here now, I have filtered for the high impact and any bank holidays that we have going into next week. As you can see here, we quite have nothing on Monday and on Sunday. Okay, early in the week we don't have any high impact news. So the high impact news starts kicking in on Tuesday. You can see on Tuesday we do have CPI release coming from the Canadian axis. All right, all at 8:30 a.m. That's obviously going to be a high impact news. And then at 10 a.m. we do have the consumer confidence data coming from the United States axis. All right, and then later in the day as well we do have CPI coming from the Australian axis. All right, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. All right, so that's obviously a day of high impact news for the Canadian and the Australian dollar. And then on Wednesday we do have a few speeches in here. You can see Bank of England governor, Bank of Japan, and Fed chair will be speaking. All right around 9:30 a.m. Eastern. And then on Thursday we do have the German prelim CPI. Okay, obviously that's obviously going to be a high impact, so keep an eye on that. Okay, and right now no particular time for the release, but again that is going to be most likely a high impact for the euro. All right, and then on the same day 8:30 a.m. we do have the GDP and unemployment claims coming from the United States axis. To wrap things up on Friday, we do have the GDP data coming from the Canadian axis, and then PCE price index coming from the United States axis. So, well, high impact on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and Friday. Earlier, let's say Sunday, Monday, nothing on the calendar. So, well, a very tradable week in my own opinion. But again, please do keep an eye on all those CPI releases, because you know, those are usually high impact, especially of recent where inflation has been very significant impact. Okay. And actually also expect some maybe knee-jerk reactions, especially with the developments we are getting now from Russia as well. So, you know, just expect that maybe there might be some knee-jerk reactions on your chart as you're trading next week as well. All right. So now going into the charts, as usual, we're going to be kicking things off with DXY. Now I'm taking a look at DXY on the weekly. Obviously, you can see we're still inside that weekly range. Okay, the week ended up being a bullish week, but not much of an information. All right, we opened, I think price pushed up a little bit, and then we made a new low, and then from there the boost came into this market and started pushing things to the upside. But then if we go into the daily charts, you notice that we didn't quite get into this particular supply zone of interest, this buying origin of interest. Okay, price just came very close, and then from there, boom, we exploded to the upside. So this is almost happening in the middle of nowhere, in my own opinion, at this point. So, well, but nonetheless, you notice that the bulls are in these markets. Okay, probably maybe price is tapping into something, maybe in this case probably this level of resistance that we have in this area. The market's probably reacting from that particular area, and you can see we're getting that bounce at this point. And you notice how the markets gave us a significant push on Friday to the upside. So the bulls are in these markets, make no mistakes. At least that is what I can see right now. Now what I would love to see is probably for some bearish movements to the downside. Okay, and then from there maybe a retest of this area around, let's say 102.25 area, and then from there maybe the bulls coming into these markets again for another continuation to the upside. Okay, that is kind of what I can see from this particular time frame. Now if we go into the 4 hours time frame, what do we have here? Well, we do have some form of buying origin in this area. If we pay attention, actually that move originated from here. Okay, so right around here, this is where the move kind of originated from, the move that took off this level of structure to the upside, right? And if you pay attention, we also have like a trend line break in this area. I'm probably going to start it from right around here. So let's say something of this nature. So this is the trend line that we have on this chart. So you notice that we did get a little hesitation around that trend line, and then finally we got a nice push to the upside that broke this level of structure to the upside. Okay, so what I would love to see now is for price to give me some form of a pullback. back, okay, into this particular area, maybe let's say 102.30 area, okay, just to retest this trend line from below, or if possible even towards this particular buying origin here. So let's say anywhere from right around here, I will expect the bulls to start coming back into this market for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's pretty much it for Dixie. Next up is going to be US dollar Swiss francs. Now for US dollar Swiss francs, to be honest with you, not much is happening in this particular currency at the moment. Price is almost in the middle of nowhere at this time. If we go into the daily time frame, not much, honestly. All we have here is you can see how price gave us a nice push to the downside, breaking these levels of structure, okay, and creating this supply zone in the process. If we grab this really large supply zone that we have here, so price came all the way into towards that particular supply zone, and you notice and see how we got some rejection off of that particular area. So well, I would not be surprised, let's say market opens, maybe a little push to the upside, and then from there maybe the bears might come into this market for another nice push to the downside. That is the only thing that I can really see in this particular chart. But again, this is not enough retest in my own opinion. So maybe a nice push to the downside, and then maybe we might get another rotation to the upside for price to give us a very nice retest of this particular supplies area that we have here, and maybe a decision will be made. But again, this is not the clearest of charts. I would personally like to stay away from this going into next week. There are clear opportunities in my own opinion, but that's pretty much what I can see right now in this pair. Let's see, do we have anything in the 4 hours time frame? Not much. You can see that we did get this nice push to the downside that led to the break of this level of structure, and well, we have this supply zone, obviously this one right here. So you notice that well, price gave us a tap into that particular supply zone on Friday, and then from there you can see that the bears are already coming into this market. So well, it's looking more bearish than bullish at the moment. So let's see. Personally, I would love to see maybe you can get another retest of this particular supply zone, and then from there the bears may come into this market in momentum to push price down, maybe towards, let's say, 88.50 before another decision will be made. But not much of a long-term analysis can be done at this point, especially since we are coming very close to the bottom of this particular let's say swing. Okay, we are coming towards the bottom of this particular swing area. So anything can happen. Maybe the markets can test 88.50, and from here we get a very nice push to the upside. Who knows? All right, so let me say for now, this is kind of what I would love to see in this particular pair. Possibly maybe a little push to the upside, and then from where the bears might come into this market for further continuation to the downside. All right, that's it for US dollar Swiss francs. Next up is going to be Australian dollar US dollar. Now for Australian dollar US dollar, what do we have here? If we take a look at the weekly, oops, 1 second. If we take a look at the weekly, this chart is now looking messy slowly but surely. Okay, obviously price is tapping into something here, but cannot be really backed up by much price action, because you notice that this move here did not succeed in taking off this level. Okay, and this was the one here. This move to the upside broke this one, so price is just doing a bunch of nothing at this point in this particular chart. That cannot really be explained from the longer time frames. Okay, we get a little break to the downside, you expect the bears to start coming in, and then boom, we get a break to the upside. So the market is just kind of ranging, okay, more like an expanding triangle at the moment. Okay, so not the clearest from a long-term perspective, but nonetheless, you know, price gave us a very nice and bearish week. That is what we can see from this particular time frame. So the bears are in control right now, make no mistakes. We did get a very nice push to the upside that led to the break of this level of structure that we have here. So obviously this is some form of demand zone in here, but again, the general outlook from the longer time frame is bearish in my own opinion. So maybe next week, early next week, we're going to get some reaction, okay, off of this particular demand zone area that led to the break of this level of structure. So we can easily get next week a reaction to the upside into this particular 4-hour supply zone area, which also coincides with this little hesitation area that we have on the daily. Okay, so from right around here, anywhere from right around, let's say 0.6750 area, I'll expect the bears to again start coming into this market for further continuations to the downside. All right, that is going to be my preferred course of action based on the price action that I'm seeing in this particular time frame. Now if we zoom into the 4 hours time frame, the picture becomes clear. Okay, so you can see right now price is now inside that demand zone area, we've cleared any form of trend line liquidity that you have in this area. So well, I will expect the bulls to come in this market early next week, okay, and maybe give us a push towards this particular supply zone that led to the break of this level of structure to the downside. Okay, so right now that area is sitting right around, let's say, 0.6750. So anywhere from right around there, I will expect the BS to start coming back into these markets again for further continuations to the downside. All right, that is pretty much what I can see right now in Australian dollar, US dollar, as we go into next week. Next up is going to be Euro US dollar. Now Euro US dollar, if we go into the weekly time frame, well, what can we say? This market is kind of ranging at this point. We're not really going anywhere, all right, at this particular point. You can see price kind of retested that origin candles that we have here, and you can see that the bears are now again coming back into this market. We did get a very nice push to the upside, but then from there you can see that the bears are coming into this market again, and we succeeded in closing this week a bearish week. All right, so let's go into the daily and see what we have in stock. Now euro dollar is actually clearer than DXY, okay, because as you can see here, this is the supply zone that led to the the bearish move that we got here that led to the break of this particular level of structure that we have here. Okay, so this is the supply zone that euro dollar dipped into, okay, as anticipated, and from there you can see that the bears are now coming into these markets again. Okay, so well, you can see that the price action in euro dollar is actually cleaner than what we have on DXY, and I'm actually liking this particular setup right now. Okay, you see how the bears came in momentum and took off this particular price level that we had around, let's say, 1.0900 institutional price level, okay, to the downside. So the bears mean business here. However, I would still like to see some form of bullish move, okay, based on what we can see on the smaller time frame. So if we go into the 4 hours time frame, you notice that the picture is a little clearer. So obviously here we do have a very nice push to the upside that broke this level of structure. And again, we're obviously keeping an eye here for a nice push to see if we're going to get a bounce off of, let's say, this trend line and this demand zone that we have in this area. But again, this coincided with a high impact news release on Friday, okay, and then from there you can see how we broke that particular level, that particular demand zone, that particular trend line in momentum to the downside. So this is an indication that the bears are in this market. The question is now, how much of a retracement are we going to get? Okay, so personally, well, chances are that maybe we might get maybe a little push to the downside, maybe price retesting, let's say 1.0900 from above, and then from there maybe we get a little push to the downside. Okay, again, this push to the upside is also going to coincide with a retest of this previous level of support that we have on our charts right around here. Okay, so from here I will expect maybe a little bearish reaction, okay, from where maybe the bulls might come back into this market, because remember, again, this looks like a demand zone area. Okay, you can see this nice push to the upside. So from there again, I will expect the bulls to come into these markets. Okay, that will be my personal preference, to give us a nice retest of this particular trend line that was broken. Again, I would like to see price give me a retest of this particular area that coincides with this supply zone that led to the break of this level of structure, and also right around 1.0950 institutional price level. So should we make it towards this area, 1.0950 area, price will be retesting 1.0950 institutional price level, we'll be retesting this H4 supply zone, and also be retesting this trend line that was broken from below. So if this happens, this would be a high quality area for me to start searching for short opportunities in this particular currency pair, at least towards 1.0800, okay, institutional price level. All right, so this is going to be my preferred course of action for this particular week. So let's see, maybe early in the week we might be a little bearish on euro dollar, but then I personally would expect price to give us maybe another bullish rotation, okay, and then from there maybe let's say 1.0950 is where I would expect the BS to start coming into this market for a significant push to the downside. All right, that will be my preferred course of action. Again, remember, this is just a forecast, guys. As usual, the markets have the final say. Anything can happen from market open, so take this analysis with a pinch of salt. But then again, this is what I can see right now based on the price action that has already printed on our charts. Okay, so let's let's see how this develops as we go into next week. Now, that's it for euro dollar. Next up is going to be US dollar Canadian dollar. Now, US dollar Canadian dollar, I'm not going to waste your time. You can see that on Friday, price gave us a nice push into this particular supply zone area. I actually missed this trade, guys. This is a trade that I should have been in as I'm speaking right now, but I missed this trade. I labeled it, but I missed my alarm when it went off. So again, this is obviously a supply zone that led to the break of this level of structure that we have right around here. Price gave us a push into that supply zone, and you can see that we are now, rotating off of that particular supply zone. So, well, this one already is reacting as we speak. Should we get maybe price to give us a pullback early on, let's say market open, maybe if we get a push to the upside, I'm probably going to be looking for opportunity to go short in this particular pair again, and I'm expecting bearish momentum to continue in this particular currency pair. Okay, again, I'm keeping an eye on right around, let's say 1.3000. That is right around where I will expect the bulls to start coming into this particular market, if they are going to come into this market. Okay, but right now it's still bearish. We are right around 13200, so we still have some room to the downside, and price is now reacting off of that H4 supply zone area. So let's see how it goes, but that is pretty much what I can see at this particular point. Okay, all right, so that's it for US dollar Canadian dollar. Next up is going to be New Zealand dollar US dollar. Well, in this particular pair, I'm not going to waste your time. It's not the best looking as we speak. You can see that price gave us a nice push to the upside, didn't quite make it towards this supply zone area, but then from here now we dipped again to the downside into this, what I call it like a demand zone, probably in the smaller time frame. We got a reaction that did not take off the previous swing high, and then from here the bears are coming into these markets again, and we took off this previous swing low. So in the smaller time frame, we are now making lower highs and lower lows, which is indicative of a downtrend. So if we go into the 4 hours time frame, the picture becomes clearer. You can see how actually last week I had anticipated that from this particular zone here, we are going to get maybe a push to the upside. Well, we did get a push to the upside. However, we did not take off this high, and now we have taken off this low that we have here. So we are printing now lower highs and lower lows in the 4 hours time frame. All right, and you notice that right around here is where the decision was made to break this particular level of structure to the downside. So in my opinion, the bears are now in these markets, make no mistake. So maybe let's say early next week, maybe a little push to the downside, and then we might get a rotation to the upside into this particular supply zone area, from where I will expect the bears to start coming into these markets again for further continuations to the downside. So this is my preferred course of action in this particular currency pair as we go into next week. Okay, so that's it for New Zealand dollar US dollar. Next up is going to be British pound some US dollar. Oops, what happened? Okay. So next up, what happened to my charts? Okay, something happened. You can see, I don't know what happened, but let's take a look now and see what's going on in British pounds and US dollars. So you notice this pair, well, give us a nice push to the upside, breaking this key level of structure that we have on our charts. And right now you notice that this week price literally came very close to retesting that particular level, and you can see that the bulls are still protecting that area. Okay, the markets are kind of reacting off of that particular area. All right, if we go into the daily time frame, we do have obviously a very nice demand zone that actually led to the break of this particular level of structure. So well, very easily, it's very possible that price can bounce from this particular level, or we might get a dip into this particular area, let's say right around 1.2550 institutional price level, from where the bulls are going to come into this market to continue pushing this market again to the upside. Okay, so both of them are possible in my own opinion, but again, let's see if we have further information in the smaller time frame. Now, the markets came very close. Okay, we didn't quite get towards this area. The markets came very, very close, and you can see here that upon this push to the upside, we didn't quite take off this previous swing high, and right now we've taken off this previous swing low. So looking a little bearish right now. However, take that with a pinch of salt, because we do have this demand zone area that has not been tested, and also we have this daily demand zone area as well. So price can easily bounce off of this particular demand zone again to the upside, or make it all the way towards, let's say, 125.50 before we get a push to the upside. Okay, that being said, in my own opinion, maybe we get a little push to the downside. That is if we're going to get a dip into this area, let's say 126.50, and then from there maybe the bulls might come back again to these markets. Okay, but again, pay attention and see how we are not taking this previous swings high away. So it's very possible that from here again, maybe price might give us a rotation to the downside, and that might be the one that takes us towards the 125.50 demand zone in the daily time frame, from where I will expect the bulls to actually come into this market and flex their muscles for a nice swing to the upside. Okay, this is pretty much going to be my preferred course of action as we go into next week in British pounds US dollar. Okay, all right, so next week next up is going to be US dollar Japanese yen. Now for the yen crosses, obviously we continue to be bullish. You know, you can see price continues to wax to the upside. We have now clearly taken off this particular supply zone, okay, or this particular zone. So the market just continues to push to the upside, bullish week after bullish week. Okay, so well, let's see, what do we have on the daily time frame? Again, a little hesitation, and from here the bulls came into these markets and continue pushing the markets to the upside. If we go into the 4 hours time frame, well, you notice that we did get a level of resistance. Okay, the market hesitated for a little bit around here, okay, and then from here we got a nice push to the upside that created this particular demand zone, okay, that led to the break of this level of structure that we have right around here. Okay, so this is a demand zone of interest for me, so let me go ahead and label it. I actually forgot to label that. All right, 1 second. Oops. All right, so this is the demand zone, and well, you can see that that demand zone is sitting right around, let's say, 14200 area, 141, maybe 75 area. So again, this is also a demand zone in here, so I would not be surprised, let's say early next week the markets might give us a rotation to the downside, okay, maybe towards 14300, from where maybe the bulls might come into these markets. But overall, I would like to see the bears give me a nice rotation into this particular demand zone area that we have here, okay, and from here, this is where I will expect the bulls to start coming back again into these markets for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's it for British pound, for US dollar Japanese yen. Next up is going to be British pounds and Japanese yen. So well, for British pounds and Japanese yen, what do we have here? From the weekly, again, a bullish week. We got a little push to the downside, and from there again, the bulls came into these markets and we continue to make higher highs. Okay, now if we go into the daily time frame, we do have this demand zone area. Again, price is still quite far from there. I doubt if we're going to make it in here, but let's say we do. That is from right around where I would expect the bulls to start coming in again, from further continuations to the upside. Okay, and now if we go into the 4 hours time frame, you notice that again price give us a little hesitation, all right around here, but just before markets close, you notice that well, you know, we've got a very nice push to the upside that, you know, broke above that particular level of resistance that we have on our chart. So the bulls in these markets, make no mistake, I will expect, let's say, a little push to the downside, okay, and from here maybe the bulls might come back again into these markets, but overall maybe we might have a very nice push to the downside to clear all this trend line liquidity that we have in this area, maybe to dip towards, let's say, 17800 before maybe the bulls might come back into these markets. Okay, that is kind of the price action that I would love to see. Again, if you don't see what I'm talking about, this is the trend line I'm talking about. So maybe we bounce off of that particular trend line for one last time, but maybe don't make a new high, and then from there we might clear liquidity, you know, the trend line liquidity that we have here, dipping into this particular demand zone area that we have around, let's say, 17900 area, 17850, anywhere from right around there. I will expect the bulls to start coming into these markets again for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's it for British pounds and Japanese yen. Next up for me is going to be Australian dollar Swiss francs. Now for Australian dollar Swiss francs, well, this market just continues to melt to the downside. Well, without wasting your time, we did have this particular demand zone area that was broken, okay, to the downside, creating a supply zone in this particular area. So if we go into the hourly time frame, the picture becomes clearer. So this is the level I'm talking about. 1 second, let me show you guys. So this is the level right here. Okay, this is the level, and from here you notice that well, price, this is the demand zone, and from there you can notice that from right around here the decision was made to break that particular level. Okay, and well, right now the bears in these markets, make no mistake. So personally, what I would love to see, let's say if the market opens, I would love to see price to give us a nice push to the upside towards, let's say, 0.6020 area, anywhere from right around here, in my own opinion, is high quality to start searching for short opportunities for further continuations to the downside. Okay, now the markets can easily open here and just continue pushing to the downside. Well, we have to just reanalyze and identify the supply zones that form and continue to follow the markets, right? But in the event that, let's say, the market opens and we start getting that bullish rotation towards the upside, in my own opinion, this supply zone is one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on, okay, for a possible rotation to the downside again. All right, so that's it for Australian dollar and Swiss francs. Next up is going to be Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Now, Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, guys, again continues to push to the upside as anticipated. You notice how the weekly time frame, you can see that, wow, right now we are getting closer to the previous swing high that we have right around, let's say, 110.50 area. Well, the week was a bullish one as well, and if you pay attention here on the daily time frame, we do have obviously this demand zone area. Price still quite far from that demand zone area. This is also a demand zone area as well. Let's see, in the 4 hours time frame, we do have this particular demand zone area right around 107.50 area. You can see that this area was an area of hesitation. And from here, a decision was made to break that area, and since then we have not quite come back to this particular demand zone area. We do have this also as a demand zone, this also as a demand zone. So it's a lot of areas that this particular currency can bounce from. In my opinion, maybe we get a push to the downside, and then from here maybe another attack to the upside, and similar to other yen crosses, maybe a rotation towards this 107.50, from where I will expect the boost to start coming back again to these markets. Okay, so that's really it. Not much. Again, we can, markets can easily open and start pushing to the upside. All we have to do is just to reanalyze and identify the demand zones that formed in our charts, and wait for price to retrace into those areas before we make a decision to trade. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much it for Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. The last but not the least is going to be Australian dollar, New Zealand, and that's for the currencies. Then after that, we're going to take a look at gold. Now, for this particular pair, we just continue to push to the downside. Well, this pair, obviously, we can see we do have a demand zone area right around here, and I believe that is where this market is heading to, okay? Because this is a demand zone that led to the break of this particular level of structure. Then, well, from here, we did get price to retest this particular origin candle that we have right around here. Right around here, guys. Okay, so this is the area, and you can see that from there the bears have now come into these markets, and we are slowly but surely heading down towards this particular demand zone area, from where I will expect to see some bullish reaction, okay, in this particular currency pair. But as we are on our way to that particular area, if we take a look at the 4 hours time frame, we did get a break of this particular demand zone area to the downside. So, well, this particular area, in my own opinion, is a significant area of supply, and let's see. Hopefully, we get a push to the upside towards that particular area, let's say 1.0900 institutional price level. Anywhere from right around there, I will expect the bears to start coming into these markets. But if we go into the hourly time frame, the picture becomes clearer, okay? In my own opinion, this is where that decision was made to start pushing these markets to the downside. So personally, what I would like to see early next week is for price to give me a rotation to the upside towards this particular supply zone area, right around that 1.0900 institutional price level. From there, I believe that's a high quality setup for further continuations to the downside, okay? And maybe that's the push that will now get us into this particular demand zone area, maybe towards, let's say, 1.0800, from where I will expect to see the boost coming into these markets for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's it for Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Next up is going to be gold. Okay, so for gold, again, you guys know that I don't trade gold, okay, but again, you guys want to see my analysis on gold, so well, I'm going to analyze this particular instrument. Okay, so if we take a look at gold, looking more bearish than bullish, in my own opinion, we are tapping right now into this particular let's say demand zone area, so be very, very careful. Okay, price can easily from here give us a very nice push again to the upside. This is obviously a demand zone area that led to the break of this particular level of structure, and this is price pretty much tapping into that particular demand zone area. Okay, so be very, very careful. That being said, again, I would say maybe if you get bullish signals in the smaller time frame from right around here, it will be worth taking. Okay, in my own opinion, it will be worth taking, because easily price can give us a nice rotation to the upside from here. Now, it might not take up this previous swing high, okay, because this is a significant level of our resistance on our charts, but again, this is a demand zone, and right now price is retesting it. Expect maybe a bullish bounce. Okay, that is what I can see right now from the daily time frame. Now, if we go into the 4 hours time frame, what do we have? Well, 4 hours time frame, obviously we can see how you know, this is obviously a supply zone area. Let me see, this is a supply zone area in gold in the 4 hours time frame, and you can see that on Friday price gave us a push into that particular supply zone, and you can see how we are reacting off of that particular supply zone area. Okay, and well, let's see. If the market opens and let's say we begin to see some turnaround from here, in my opinion, that might be an indication to start looking for long opportunities in gold. Okay, let's say in the hourly time frame right now, you see that obviously you can see what's going on here. So in the hourly time frame in gold, this is the demand zone area. Okay, this is the demand zone area, because you can see how this is where the markets took off from, okay, to give us a nice push to the upside that took off this particular level of supply, right? So you can see that's the reason why the market is hesitating. But again, remember, all of this happened on Friday on low volume, so you know, anything can really happen. But if this level begins to hold as we go into next week, and you know, we start forming, let's say, higher highs and higher lows, expect the bulls to continue pushing these markets to the upside. Okay, and well, if that doesn't happen, and let's say market begins to break below this particular demand zone area, you know, begins to break below these lows, okay, then that might be an indication that, well, you know, we can start looking for short opportunities in gold. Okay, right now, again, like I said, I don't trade gold, but this is my 2 cents when it comes to you know, analyzing gold. All right, so that's pretty much it for this particular week. And guys, hopefully you gained some value from this video. If you did, guys, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so that you always get updates whenever I post a video. That's it for this one. Cheers, and see you next week. Bye bye.